Hello, this is Harvey here, with Simon, doing a little mini review, because it's easier than writing it down, and we thought we'd get in some multiple opinions. So today we're going to be talking about Gravity.
Right.
So yeah, we went to go see Gravity yesterday, opening night.
Yeah, it was quite quiet for an opening night.
It was quite quiet.
There was basically no one there.
There was no one there, although Thor 2's out, which makes me think that dumbasses are looking at muscles instead of sweet Sandra Bullock, man, she's like a fine wine.
Yeah.
But yeah, then we didn't go and see it in 3D IMAX because it was too fucking expensive. But yeah, we did go and see it in 2D. I've heard it's good in 3D.
Well, I mean, we never really had any intention of seeing it in 3D.
I like IMAX. I like high resolution and big fucking TV screens just screaming at me. But I don't like 3D. And
Yeah.
I like colourful stuff. And since space is quite pretty, I don't want 30% of the colour reduction. Ruining
Yeah,
it.
there is that aspect of it. I think IMAX would have been fantastic, considering how nice looking of a film it is.
Yeah. Well, you know, it is by the director of Harry Potter 3. So
Which everyone agrees is the best one.
I agree.
So.
Yeah, I think clearly that guy can make anything good.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah.
So yeah, what do you think of Gravity?
I really enjoyed it. If I was going to give it a number of stars out of 5, I think I'd go all the way to 5.
I think I'd give it 5.
Because you can't really improve that film.
Well, whenever I think about it, I think I really liked that movie. It was really fucking good, but something about it, like it doesn't have like favorite film material in my mind, and I don't know why. Because
No.
it was amazing. I've never seen a film like that. It's it's like kind of like Memento, like you see, and you're like, I have not seen a film like that. That's so fucking well done. And oh yeah, a lot of it's money, but most of it's just two very talented filmmakers.
Yeah.
The Cuaron brothers. But yeah, no, like but I still think that should we do a little synopsis for anyone who hasn't actually.
Yeah, that
Right,
might be
you
an
give a
idea
synopsis
actually.
because I'm shit at
Got something popping up on your screen, by the way.
I know, ignore it. So I'm terrible at doing synopsis. So you go.
Okay, so the synopsis is Sandra Bullock is the woman and George Clooney is the man.
Yeah.
And they're in space.
There's also an Indian man, but he dies very quickly.
He dies almost immediately. Yeah, and they're just in space, doing a little spacewalk, minding their own business, when suddenly debris comes flying at them.
It's Russian debris as well.
Yeah, it was the Russians, those damn Russians, with their completely destroying all satellites in all of space. And yeah, the debris field comes and hits them, and it destroys their space station, and they're left drifting hopelessly, trying to find some way of returning to Earth. Some of the film they're apart, some of the film they come back together. And the mostly focuses on the woman.
Yeah, just being alone in space, which is fucking terrifying.
Yeah. And so yeah, the setting is just space and a couple of different space stations that she tries to get to. That's the synopsis in my mind.
I think first thing that carries it looks amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Music's fantastic. It's incredibly well shot. Like it's got the Alfonso Cuaron like long shots. Like I think the opening's like 20 minutes without a cut.
Yeah,
it's insane. I don't know how they made that film.
Well, I only realised in retrospect, but yeah, the opening is a remarkable bit of cinematic.
Well, the thing is, because most of it's CG, it's like it's not that hard to choreograph. I assume you've just basically got stuff flying around in a computer screen, and then you just superimpose George Clooney's face.
I wonder how did they do all the George and Sandra floating around in space? How did they do the zero G?
I imagine.
Is it the same
it's usually
way?
wires, isn't it?
Oh right.
Outside, it's superimposed faces, definitely. They do not have George
Really?
Clooney in it. Yeah, like you've got the CGI to do that.
I don't know. That feels like if they did that, it would look shit.
They do it with Iron Man when he's in the suit.
Oh, they do, yeah.
That's just Robert Downey Jr.'s face crushed into a box.
Yeah, well, I mean, in like stuff like Apollo 13, they do.
Yeah, because that's recent.
Yeah, but that's like the standard. That's
Yeah.
like the universally accepted standard for films set in space.
Yeah, they make them float around.
But no, yeah, they do the whole like
The
parabolic flight thing to create actual zero G, and they film in that.
Oh, okay. CGI is probably a lot cheaper than that.
Yeah, but then like I don't know.
The internal
It
shots.
looks too good to be CGI.
The internal shots is probably wires, I imagine.
Yeah, that could be wires.
But and maybe some of the falling stuff that you just mentioned there, and I can't remember the name for it. But for the most part, yeah, I think it's superimposed. Like, so yeah, the long shots are cool, but obviously probably not as impressive for children and men. Like, it's not like not everything has to be choreographed as tightly in that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks amazing. Music's really damn good.
Well, I mean, I think the music aspect only starts to kick in towards the end, where it's sort of like you don't really notice the music until the part where it rips off Time from Inception, which I'm not sure how I feel about, but it's really nice.
The music's just atmospheric, like it definitely doesn't take away, and like there are some amazing shots in there. I think the shot where she comes in, or she finally gets into an airlock, and it's just like a really nice, quiet moment.
Yeah, well, I think and the music.
It's not just bombastic; it is
the music in the final scene.
Choreography is amazing.
The music in the final scene as well, I think, is quite good. Almost brings a tear to my eye. I was feeling very emotional at that.
Really. I think so like all the space stuff, it's all completely tense and it keeps going. The one thing I think it does, like the main character, I was connected to her because she was a person, and they bring in like sort of they like bring in that she's like lost a daughter, and there is sort of like a theme about her like realizing, like, maybe I shouldn't, feel so dead inside. Maybe I should survive, literally, and survive, in my heart, over my daughter's death. And I'm not sure that kind of stuff works that well, because it is a lot of people just, because she's alone most of the time, so it's just her, basically in her head, out loud, just saying how she's feeling. And then every now and again, just George Clooney telling, oh, you've got to get over it. And it's like, this isn't the most pressing thing at the time. And I know that they're just trying to bond and like calm each other down, but I did think at times, like when she's not in peril and she's just sitting by herself, I did think the dialogue was a bit hammy, and it did keep taking me out of it. I mean, I imagine that's what people say when they're by themselves. They don't say amazingly witty things, like they do just drowl on. But I think sometimes she drowled on. I've created that word, but I think she drowled on a bit long.
I don't think the film would have been. I mean, what could they possibly have filled that space with?
No, I think just, I don't know, better dialogue, like less just.
But she is on her own.
Yeah, but she is kind of.
She's got no one to.
She does say what she's thinking a bit too much out loud.
I suppose so, but
It felt at those points. It felt like it was more like, oh, this is actually written. Like it was. It felt like it was being a bit too filmy. Like I could see them setting up themes and trying to like, and character development, trying to like knock them over.
Well,
whereas the action is so organic. Like, oh, she's in space. This thing's gone wrong. Then this thing's gone wrong, and it's like she has to adapt to it. But that just felt like very structured.
Well, maybe it's like something that is gonna arise inevitably from the fact that it's a film that has like over half of it. I'm sure is in solitude, is the main character in solitude, and it's also a film where lots of shit is happening, and lots of developments are occurring.
Sure.
And so in any other film, you just have the two or more characters just constantly reiterating the same information over to each other, whereas it needs some way of kind of slightly keeping the viewer abreast of things if they maybe haven't been paying quite enough attention.
I guess so. I mean, it's pretty hard not to pay attention during that movie because
but
it's constantly like, oh shit, this is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, and like I don't know, as well, it's like it's kind of it's aesthetically reassuring to have someone talking in the film, just so there isn't these long protractions of silence.
That's true. It's true. I mean, they could have gone down the silent route, and I thought it might have been okay, but it also might have felt just quite empty.
Yeah.
So one thing I did kind of, it kind of felt like when I was watching Gravity, like it was kind of like Avatar but done right, and not just like, it was sort of like a massive like technological sort of marvel. You go, oh shit, that's amazing, but it's not just average. If you saw like it
Yeah,
wasn't just resting on its laurels and just being, technology. Look at all the great CGI we've got. It's also, oh shit, you've also like really well planned this.
well, yeah. If you
Um,
wanted just great CGI with no story, you don't really need to look
yeah,
that far. Just like
exactly.
I don't know, Iron Man 3, good
I know.
example. That's quite
I
recent.
still think Armageddon is the perfect example of how not to do a space movie. Like a 2001 not Space Odyssey, even though I don't like it, it has that same sort of thing. Like its representation of space is like for some reason films will always try and like make space like Earth. Like explosions happen, you can fire guns there, and it's like why space is like the complete opposite. And the more different, the more scary. That's what makes stuff scary. When
Yeah,
you're in a situation that makes no sense. So when like I don't want to ruin much, but like the rubble is coming and basically shit is falling apart around her. She's got like 20,000 miles of like debris smashing around her, but it's all quiet because obviously she
yeah.
can't hear anything. She's just seeing it, and that is terrifying. Yeah,
Yeah. I think it kind of. Yeah,
because even
I
though there's
can't think of
less,
anything else that does space well, apart from maybe Battlestar.
2001: A
But
Space Odyssey, I'd say is like close, but you haven't seen that, so.
no, no.
But it's got that sort of space is empty and you can't escape, so don't try.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and all the physics. I mean, it kind of takes liberties with the whole jetpack thing.
Yeah,
Um,
seems legit though.
yeah, I mean, the physics as well as being accurate are also just quite fun. Like the way, like the whole like motion of everything that's moving around, the way like she's like climbing around these structures in zero G. Um, and like especially the sort of the main um initial plot establishing part where she's coming off of the space station
Yeah,
and she's like flying around
yeah, she's just spinning in
hopelessly.
space.
Yeah.
Yeah. The,
Um,
the 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 thing I did like about the zero G stuff was it wasn't like Uncharted where it was like sort of or like Dead Space kind of jumping where it was like really competently jumping from like platform to platform. Go like yeah. Like whenever she made a grab, it's like shit. Like she keeps like missing shit, and she's constantly just sort of fucking up
yeah,
until eventually she just grabs onto the last bit.
yeah. That is.
Yeah,
I mean, it definitely keeps like a sense of tension all the way
yeah.
through, and you don't feel like there's anything particularly sort of um resilient or like competent um
The main
about
character.
Sandra Bullock.
Yeah.
And like yeah, you feel like she could fuck up at any moment because it does establish like quite early on that she's like well that like it's very hard to survive in space when you're detached from a space station.
Exactly. The one thing I did find was that near the end they do push the tension. Like it's like they keep throwing stuff at her, and it's like oh shit, and then it's like I can see how that happens. Then that folds into that. It's like oh crap, this is all like folding into each other nicely, and then obviously I don't want to ruin it, but the last 10 minutes I think they possibly are just like it's kind of like a bit like Precious. Have you ever seen Precious?
No.
Yeah, the film about the fat black lady who's like it's like oh her life's terrible and it just keeps throwing stuff at her and like it's like oh Precious is getting beaten up, oh Precious is pregnant, and then at the end it goes oh Precious has AIDS, and it's like too much, too much. I the fuck off whatever. I think it does that. I think it has a Precious gets AIDS moment.
No, but well,
No,
I mean,
it's not. It's not. It's like oh this is stupid, but it was like yeah. I'm just watching something and it's like yeah I get it.
I thought the last 10 minutes was the best part of the whole film.
Really?
I absolutely love the last 10 minutes, and like yeah, it was just the right aftertaste as well. It was like oh that was nice.
Oh really? I definitely think the first half is my favorite bit.
um, I don't know. For me, it was like first third and last third because the middle, as has been rightly observed, it is. I think the middle is where you have
That's the
have the
silence.
Precious has AIDS syndrome.
Really?
Yeah, I
No,
think because I
I
mean
think
it's
I
all really
yeah.
good, but then at the same time you go like this is like essentially been following the same formula of some shit happens, she's gonna somehow find a way around it, and it's gonna be like it's gonna be a bit touch and go for a while, but then you move
Yeah.
on to the next thing. Yeah, I mean particularly like the whole last scene is fantastic, and like it like perfectly plays on like your sort of like your sense of epicness and like the emotional attachment that you built up.
It's true. It does have a sense of epicness. I don't know. Like I still felt that it was just how he's you've thrown too much at her, and it's just dribbling off now.
Um, yeah,
Just
we
because
disagree on that
what
one.
happens pales in comparison to what happens before.
Oh, do you mean what
Well,
happens in the very last
yeah,
scene?
the very last scene.
Okay, yeah, no, that might
I
not be
was
that
no
good.
no
But...
no no yeah, not yeah, but like the very last scene, it's like, oh yeah, like whatever.
Um, yeah,
Okay.
well,
We
yeah,
can't
we
ruin
can't
it,
really talk
but
about
like,
it with spoiling it.
I think it blows its load, and then just sort of thrusts
Yeah, it does
limply
have a bit of
for 5 minutes.
it has a bit of a dry
Yeah,
hump moment.
only for 5 minutes.
It's not even that. It's like 2
Yeah,
minutes.
it's like 2 minutes. No.
Anyway, that's hardly relevant to the rest of the
True,
film.
yeah, no.
But yeah, CGI amazing. Like one of the best CGI'd films I've ever seen.
Yeah, definitely.
How long did you say it had been being made for?
About 3 years. I know.
Sure.
I know. Like,
Wait, if you said it was in production since inception, that's longer than that.
no, Inception was about 4 years.
No, you have this compressed time syndrome.
Oh, maybe I do.
I think Inception was 5 years.
Okay, I know it's been in production for about 4 years. It's been a fucking long time. Like that's why he hasn't made a film. Children of Men came out like what, 2006. That's why he hasn't made a film, because he's just been trying to get this made. Because obviously, like, I have no idea how they made that movie, and clearly he has been fucking improvising to a ridiculous extent.
Yeah. Well worth it though. I think we agree.
Well worth it. Yeah, it's an insanely good movie, and it doesn't have to pull cheap tricks. Like you haven't seen Armageddon, have you?
No.
Yeah, like the scenes in Armageddon where, in order to build excitement in space, they make some people just pull a lever and make the International Space Station explode for no reason.
Yeah.
Like, why is it designed that way? Whereas this International Space Station, bad things happen, but
well, I mean,
they happen for a reason.
You do have to ask at some point, why did the Russians destroy their own satellite, knowingly creating a debris field that would annihilate everything in space?
The plan.
Maybe it was a Russian conspiracy. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe in Gravity 2, they'll fight the Russians.
Exactly.
Maybe in like a charity boxing match. But yeah, the critics seem to agree. It's got a nice 8.5, like honeymoon, because we all know that the number's going to go down on IMDb.
True.
But 8.5 is a good starting point. I think it's got 97% on Rotten Tomatoes as well.
It's definitely worth watching because it's got spectacle, but it's also very beautiful at the same time.
And another thing about it is it's
almost like a Nolan film.
It does feel a bit Nolan-y.
It's got a Nolan-y touch.
But yeah, it's a relief to finally see a film that respects the audience and treats the audience like actual adults.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, it isn't like a kind of incredibly formulaic spoon-feeding plot like everything else we've seen in the last 6 months.
Yeah, exactly. Like it does the sort of like fact is better than fiction kind of.
Yeah, and it doesn't have ridiculous inconsistencies something like Star Trek Into Darkness.
Oh shit. In that one, if it was written by if Gravity was written by J.J. Abrams, like the main female character would be like really fucking like, she'd be an orphan and she's like growing up on the streets, but she's used humor. She's always like cracking jokes.
Yeah. Yeah. Fuck you, J.J. Abrams.
Fuck you, J.J. Abrams. But yeah. So 5 stars each.
Yeah.
10 out of 10.
9 out of 10.
11 out of 11.
10 out of 11. We could do this all day. Well, we said it would be a mini review, so that's the mini review.
There you go. So enjoy that. Go and watch it. Goodbye.
Good job. That's a wrap.